Okay, another episode on the Mini. It's been a while, I'll admit, it's taken a bit longer than I thought. I was a bit optimistic last year that I thought I could maybe get it done last year, but I've picked up new hobbies and I've been busy doing other things. Post more about that on my Instagram. I'll put a link for that if you want to follow me on Instagram. But yeah, I've been doing other things. I have made a lot of progress and I'm pretty happy with what I've done, and I'm optimistic that maybe I can get it done this year. I've got a full new boot floor in and floors, kind of half floors either side now. So it's got kind of 6 inches up from the ground, it's all new steel. I'm at the stage now where I'm just about to put the heel board in. So once that's in, it's kind of all new metal work, and that's further than I thought I was really going to go. I'll show you some of the rot that I've cut out, and that's the reasons why I ended up going a bit further. But at the end of the last episode, I hadn't even decided if I was going to put a new boot floor in it. But I have done. It's got a full new Heritage boot floor, and I'm pretty happy with where I've got to. So we'll take a look at what I've done and what I'm going to do next. Yeah. So one thing I should probably say, because I always forget to, is actually to like the video, comment on the video, call me a horrible name, say I've done it wrong, and then if you really fancy me, you can actually subscribe to my Patreon as well. It's not very much money, and it will actually decrease the time frame of me getting the videos out because it helps to pay for the editing, basically. So yeah, please go ahead and do that. It'd be much appreciated. I do post extra things on Patreon from time to time. Not many, granted, but the more patrons I have, maybe the more likely I am to post stuff. I don't know if that's a fair way of doing that, I don't know, but it is what it is. Thanks. Back to the video. So it's got a full new boot floor in it now. This is a Heritage panel. At the end of the last episode, I hadn't really decided what I was going to do. There was 2 repairs that had been done in front of the rear shock absorber area and kind of what is the rear seat pan. And they were okay repairs, but they'd already started to corrode, and I knew I needed to cut out the vast majority of the boot floor anyway. I just knew that if I put a whole new boot floor in it, it was going to be a lot more work because there's a lot more flanges to unpick, there's a lot more grinding, a lot more welding. And I'm a bit time limited, so I was trying to save work, but also knowing that this is my first car. Like, I don't want to compromise on this car at all, really. I'm happy to cut some corners, but I just thought, you know, it was one of the worst pieces of the car was all the repairs that had been done, and I thought if I'm going to put a new heel board on, I may as well put a new boot floor on, because in the process of doing it, it makes way more sense to renew it all. Like I say, now I've got from kind of 6 inches up, it's all new steel. I've cut out a bit more of the boot floor, and I've cut off the rear valance and trimmed around the kind of rear tubs, because I wanted to be sure when I ordered panels that I wasn't going to change the tubs, which I'm not, and that I didn't need the kind of, you can buy like a repair piece for the back here that runs all the way along. Mine was pretty ropey the last time I changed the valance, but this is more than good enough. All the stuff you actually need, like the hinge mounts and, you know, all the bits that, you know, like the kind of inside the boot lip and stuff like that, that's all good. The flange is a bit ropey, but I mean, again, like you can kind of see here, there is some kind of rust and stuff in there that's been like filled over in the past. But if I have to just change the flange, that's not the end of the world, because the bumper kind of covers most of that anyway. Once the boot floor's in and I've confirmed it fits all right, what I'm going to then have to do is everywhere where the boot floor obviously has to be welded, I'm going to have to clean this coating. It's like
It's like a coating. I can't remember what you call it now off the top of my head, but it's pretty good. It's good enough for what I need. Again, I'm not building like a concourse resto car. I'm certainly not going to bare metal that whole panel. It is a heritage panel, so the coating on these are better than most of them. I will clean it more off the underside, obviously, because obviously that's where it's going to see the kind of road grime and muck and mess. So, but I'll worry about that once it's actually in the car. For now, I just need to clean up all of the seams and edges where we're actually going to weld to. Just got to try and wedge this in between the panels at the front. Like a lot of things, you can't look at both ends at the same time. I mean, technically it should just slot in, right? It's close. Trying to get this bit to go up. Oh, there she blows. She's in. Yeah, that is now wedged in between the two wheel tubs, which is like where we obviously want it to be. But yeah, so now I'm gonna basically get this back out again, clean it up in all the areas where I know it needs cleaning up, getting all the coating off it, etch prime it, put any holes in it that it needs in it for the spot welds, which I don't think there will be any in this. They're all gonna be in the body. Yeah, then we can put it back in for the second time, fasten it in with screws so it's all in exactly the right position. Then we can begin to put some welds on it. Whoops! I did not want to do that.
So yeah, I've got a full new boot floor in now, new heritage valance and closing panels. They're not actually attached yet, which is why they're clamped, but they will be. And yeah, I've just been a case of grinding off all of the flanges, drilling out all the spot welds, and yeah, just trying to take my time and enjoy doing it really. I have put a few extra spot welds in, not spot welds, plug welds, over factory, and I'm going to actually do a bit more seam welding in the boot floor area. I'll talk about that a bit more at the time. Basically, that's what the Miglia guys do. They do a bit more seam welding in the boot floor area. But yeah, I'm really happy that I've got that in now because it's a big step, it looks cool, and I'll know that it's all solid steel. You know, it's all back to the original thickness. There's no corrosion in there. And that means that when I go to put like a stone chip on it and all the underbody protection, you know, it's going to be fine for years to come. The other thing I've done is I filled in where the battery goes. The Classic Mini has a battery box which drops down out the boot floor. It looks shite from behind, and it basically is literally a rot box. Because of where it is, they just catch all of the corrosion, catch all the road dirt and then corrode. And again, I know I'm not going to do a huge amount of miles in it, but I'm also probably not going to put a big lead acid battery in. I'm basically going to use one of the smaller modern type batteries. So there's no need to have that big tub. So yeah, I filled that in, got it all welded in nice and neat, ground it off from the top and on the bottom. So that looks good. By the time that's painted, you'll never know there was ever a hole there. But yeah, onto the floor in front of the car. So when it comes to the floor, I was going to try and get a full, genuine heritage floor, because when you think about it, they're actually not that expensive compared to buying 2 half floors. But when I wanted to order one, there was no stock. I mean, I looked at 2 places, Mini Spares, Mini Sport, and there wasn't any stock. And then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, that means I've got to unpick the whole cross member. I've got to unpick it all the way across the front. And most of the floor is actually okay. I don't actually need to replace most of the floor. I was just getting a bit carried away, I think. And that's what I'm trying not to do. So decided to just go for 2 half floors, which were pattern parts. Fit of them is okay. It's not great, but good enough. And to be honest, these are very hard to get wrong. If you're restoring a Mini, it can seem intimidating changing like half of the floor, because there's like what you call the inner sill and then the outer sill, and obviously the doorstep. And basically, by the time you cut it all out, what you get left with is just the cross member hanging in free space and the doorstep. That's it. There's nothing front to back. Obviously, I've taken the companion bins out as well, and we'll talk about that. But these are actually super easy to change. You basically just have to take your half floor, shove it up into the hole you've created, draw a line down, cut it to the line. I mean, I'm probably making it sound really simple. It's not that difficult to do. There's probably been like 10 hours in doing either side, including cutting out all the original bit. This is my floor panel. And this is what I mean about like the first rib. So there's like 4 ribs across the floor, and I'm looking to kind of cut it right out until, you know, that kind of first rib. So I'm going to be where I've got it cut out there. We've got 2 ribs left, because obviously on the floor the kind of 4th rib doesn't run all the way to the top. So if the cross member is like across here, I've cut down there basically. But it's kind of rough cut for now, because what I will do is I'll straighten that edge up once I'm ready to put the floor in. Right, so floor's in again, all clamped in. You can see I've got many clamps. I don't really have any suitable clamps for welding the floor panels together. So my normal go-to in this kind of situation is trolley jack, and then kind of press down and level from the top, tack it, move along, and so on and so forth. I will probably TIG weld this joint, because I'll be grinding most of the material away. So TIGging it will take a bit longer to weld, but it will be a lot less material to remove, and I'm generally more competent with the TIG welder anyway. So yeah, I'm going to start with getting the floor panel all tacked, then I'll move on to the cross member and probably just go for a couple of welds along here, because like I say, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna change this doorstep, but not until I've got both sides sorted, because it's not really that important. I just want to make sure that it's solid and well attached basically for now, and that means, yeah, getting the floor panel welded all the way across, getting it attached at the front, getting that flitch panel sorted out at the front there, and obviously getting a heel board on, because we've got nothing at the back there. So I'm trying not to remove too many panels at once. So focus on this floor, do a floor on the other side, then I can come back and do bits like the doorstep. Because I might even just decide to just change 2 little patches of it, basically, the 2 bits that are rotted, rather than change the whole thing. But we'll see. So yeah, to get some welding done. So yeah, I've got a few welds left to do on here. I've been tigging these in because it just means less grinding, basically. Don't want to do loads of grinding to get off loads of MIG material. And it's a bit easier to control the heat, stop it warping. And then I've got the inner wings to repair at the front. So again, these had both had kind of rubbish repairs done in the past. So that's why the floor's not connected to anything at the front there, because I'm going to put a whole new section in at the bottom. Again, this side probably about 6 inches up, that side maybe about 12 inches up. And that should be enough to get out all of the bad stuff, basically. Just cutting out the repair. There's no rot left there, again, I've already cut that out, but yeah, just getting those bad repairs out. Instead of having multiple patches in, just one solid patch that, you know, I don't really want to weld to my nice new floor panel, a kind of old patched up panel. And then, yeah, once I've got these welded in, I'm probably going to add a few more welds into the cross member again, like what the Miglia guys do. But then it's a case of just getting onto the heel board. Once I get that in, the whole floor is solid, everything structural is done, and there's no rot like 6 inches down. And fortunately, there's no rot 6 inches up either, other than a little bit on the inner wings at the front, which we'll cover later. That's all of it. That's the worst of the stuff done. So yeah, so I've kept a load of these rusty bits of steel because I'm a masochist, I guess. But one of the main reasons I ended up changing the floor, originally I was going to, if you remember, I was going to just put new sills on it and try and get a bit of neutralizer on a lot of this. But where this sill is, it's so corroded that although there's no holes in it, the material is so thin that you would never be able to really, I guess, get enough strength in it. And I was worried that I wouldn't be able to weld the new sills on. But I also wanted to show this because this is amazing. So the guy I bought this car off, basically just wax oiled the crap out of it. And that was obviously 40 years ago. I don't know what wax oil was like then, but it was obviously pretty good because inside the sills, it is full of it. And the inside of the sill on both sides isn't rusty at all. They have rusted from the outside, basically. You know, inside of there, if I was to scrape all that off, it is really good. It's just the outside that's corroded, basically, which almost never happens. What happens is the moisture gets trapped in places, like on this piece here. So this has had some repairs done, right? And there's no wax oil left on it. So what's happened is it then just starts to crumble, you know. I could probably just snap that off. Yeah, I mean, it's just completely rotten. But that just shows the difference between like actually using wax oil inside the sill and then no wax oil. But yeah, I've also got like this piece, which was the end of the heel board. And there's so many patches welded on here. It's like multiple layers, loads of bits of welding wire hanging through. So again, it was just a no-brainer really to just cut all this out and start again. It has meant going further than I wanted to go, but like I say, it's my first car and I want it to be right. So yeah, cutting out all of these bits of, the problem is these are all in areas where it would have been very hard to clean it up and very hard to make it good. And I don't want to go to all the effort of painting the underneath of the car and painting the car again, knowing that there's bits like that in it. So yeah, it's been quite therapeutic cutting it all out and knowing that it's all good now. I mean, look at this bit here. Look at that. Isn't that a good bit? Don't you just want to sit there and just pick this all to pieces? No? Just me? Want to pick the rust to pieces? Get a screwdriver and just keep poking holes in it? Actually, this reminds me of when I did that on the Princess. I was going around poking holes in underneath the Princess. I'll maybe try and link that video if you've not watched it, given that the Princess is just here. I've also managed to get the front subframe stripped. This was actually a new subframe about 15 years ago. When I originally put a 1275 engine in this car, I basically built up the engine on a subframe and then just swapped it all over in one weekend. So this was a new subframe which has been powder coated, and to be honest, the powder coat has held up so well. There's only a couple of areas, basically inside the towers, where the powder has started to go. So it's basically just surface rust. So I'm going to get this blasted again. I'm not 100% sure what colour to go. I liked the silver subframes before. You don't usually see silver subframes. They're always black normally, or a colour. And I think often colours can look a bit weird, especially on a coloured car. If it's a white or a black car, you get away with it. But on a blue car, which is probably going to stay, it's going to stay blue, or it might go primly yellow with the original colour. I'm not 100%. Probably going to stay blue. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what colour to go on the subframe yet, so I am open to suggestions on that. But I do have blue accessories to go with it. So again, I've been getting some more parts from John at Specialist Components. I've got blue tower bolts. These are super lightweight. It's actually crazy how light these are compared to these. These are for like something. These are like something off the Titanic. Considering these literally just hold the subframe on of a Mini, they are substantial. So they're like machined aluminium ones, which are anodized, and even the aluminium ones have had like material taken out of them, and they're still more than strong enough. So yeah, I've got those, which are blue. The solid subframe mounts that I've got are silver, which again, before I'd thought too much about it, I was thinking just go silver again with the subframe. And then in here, oh no, that's the wrong bit. In here, I've got, brace yourselves, because these are cooler than penguin piss. Check them out. Machined aluminium top arms in blue. I mean, look at the machining on them. They are so cool. So yeah, there you go, you know, in the top arm position there. Can't remember if it's that side or that side, one or the other. Yeah, there you go in the subframe. So again, I'm not sure if just to go silver again, or maybe like gunmetal grey. The centres of my wheels are gunmetal grey, which could look quite cool. But I also might change the wheels because I'm not 100% on them wheels now. I've had them a while. They're a bit too dark. I like them, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure on the colour. So I was thinking possibly gunmetal grey or just silver again. I do like the silver. Silver on the blue looks pretty good. I mean, I know the engine bay was yellow before, but ignore that. Yeah, I think I'm going to go silver again, but yeah, open to suggestions. So yeah, I just need to know what colour to get it done, because then I can get this built up, and that'll be fun, because it's always fun assembling stuff. It's like a big Tamiya. So the heel board is, say, for an SPR and MPI, which is obviously the injected ones, and they have a fuel feed and return, I think. They have at least a fuel feed, which is in a slightly different position to the carburetted Minis. And so the floor is different. It has a deeper, wider recess in it to take those fuel lines. And that means that this rib, which sticks out into the car, is wider on this side than it is on that side. So the actual recess in the back of the floor, in this flange, isn't wide enough. You can see that I can fit my finger in. There's a gap where that heel board can come forward, but it can't because it's touching here. And then again, we've got a gap again. So I need to relieve this area here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clear off all the underseal. Obviously it needs to come off, not underseal, seam sealer. Clear all that off because it needs to come off for welding anyway. And then, yeah, we'll mark that out, trim it, try and get a bit of a return on it. If I can't, it doesn't matter because I'm basically going to end up seam welding it all anyway. But yeah, we can get that in, trim the tops of them off. It just needs 3 or 4 mil taking off the top of there. And then, yeah, we should be able to get it in. Right, so I've got that bit reshaped there. It's not perfect. But it's allowed me to get the panel in. What I'll do is when the panel is in, I'll kind of shape it then. Again, because of how tight the heel board is to get in between the floor, underneath the kind of rear bench and boot panel, and then of course actually hooking it under the floor itself, getting in and out to kind of massage the fit, it's just not worth the time. I'll get it in, get it kind of all clamped in and screwed in, and then I can reshape that. It's such a small part that it's not going to affect how it fits overall. So in this corner here, I mean, I've measured the floor both sides because I did one side, then I did the other and took all the measurements before I did them basically. But it seems like either this panel's not quite right or the floor is wider at the back, because this crease doesn't match up with the crease in the heel board. That's not necessarily that much of a problem because it's only a couple of mil out. The problem is when I get to here, this is too wide to take there's like a reinforcing bracket on the heel board, which is what the subframe attaches to, and it's just too wide. So I can't push the heel board in all the way to make it sit flush along the back edge there. So realistically, the only option I've got is to take a slice out of the floor here, and then yeah, re-weld that back up, basically like a mil and a half narrower. So I've cut a relief out of there and it's gone in now. I just need to trim another little section off the top. The height I'm not too concerned about because the height will be governed by the boot floor, and again I made sure this was at the same height as the old heel board when I took that out. So as long as I make sure that these two close up, the height of the rear subframe should be correct. And again, like things like the centre of the floor and how well it fits around there are all going to make sure that, again, this panel is in the centre. So theoretically it should be in exactly the same position as the one that came out. So I'm just battling, you know, where I've changed the floor at the sides here, and then of course we're dealing with also pattern parts, reproduction parts, who knows. You just get like tolerance stacking. So one bit is a mil out, another bit's a mil out, that's 2 millimeters out, and that's too much to make it fit basically. So yeah, I just need to trim another little bit out the top there. I'll probably just take a little slither off the bottom and then it'll fit perfect. Okay, so I've got these all cleaned up now, got all the holes in for the plug welds, got all the E-coat cleaned off and copper primed. So I'm ready to put this in, get it lined up. I'll have to put some screws in it. Because I've basically got the car sat on a pallet, the floor is not flat. So I'm gonna have to screw the floor, probably from the underneath, to pull it down to kind of meet this flange, which is not a problem. It's just a case of getting the panel in, getting it all clamped in right. And sometimes that's the bit that can take the longest, because as soon as you start welding it, you can't move it. And you need to make sure that when you do start welding it, it won't move. So I'm probably going to spend like half an hour now clamping this in, getting it all screwed in before I can start welding it. But yeah, once it's welded, it's not coming out again. Right, so that's the rear heel board, kind of 50% welded in. I've not welded the top to the boot floor yet, because to kind of square it up, there's nothing really to measure off. So given that it's got a brand new boot floor in and a brand new heel board, if either one of these is not in the exact correct position, the subframe's not going to fit very well. So before I weld them together, I'm going to strip all the radius arms off of my existing subframe. It's a bit rotten, but it's square, and I know it's good because it's an original one. It came off this car. I'm going to bolt that on, and with that bolted on, I will then do those welds along the top. Once those welds along the top are done, I can do the welds on the rear bench, and then I'm going to seam weld all the way along the back, not all the way along the back, but in 1 inch or 1.5 inch sections, top and bottom on the heel board. So from the underneath of the floor, and then yeah, on the reverse side of the seat and heel board, then it's really solid then. But this is a nice stage to get to. I need to get the companion bins in now, but I want to repair the wheel arches first. Both the wheel arches were a bit crusty, about 1 inch above the rear bench. That's a quick, easy repair. That won't take long to do. And then I've got a bit of just a bit of tidying up to do on the bottom of the rear quarters. They always go there on Minis. So just going to be a case of grinding the rust off, neutralising it, bit of epoxy primer. Yeah, and then I can fit the companion bins in. And then that makes the shell fully structural again. Without the companion bins in, again, it is a little bit floppy, you know. Again, they're not a super stiff shell, but yeah, you remove any material from these Minis and yeah, they just get weaker. So yeah, it'd be good to get those in. And then I'm probably going to start working on the front end of the car. So I'm going to take the wings off, take the A panels off. I've got some new A panels to put on, and just a general clean up in the engine bay really. So hopefully that's what I'll be on with next time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again.